To introduce Steve. I'm professional. So who are you? I'm professional. He'd probably rather me introduce him anyway.
Oh, darling boy. Daniel to hell!
Hey, I like that. No. Nigel and Daniel have been working together over the last couple of months. Last year, and he's just paying for some beer, important business. As long as one of them's mine, I'll give him. Actually, I probably don't need another one.
Neither does Daniel.
Neither does Nigel. Yes, no. I do know that Nigel and Daniel have been working together for the last 12 months. I do know that Nigel has been on the scene and performing his little heart out over the last 12, 18 months.
Big heart.
Big heart, big man, big heart. So, you know, and again, he's part of the diverse landscape that is the spoken word scene at the moment. And yeah, without further ado, Daniel could maybe bring up the rear. Here's Nigel.
I've been introduced, Daniel. It's alright. We're going to start with, are you gay? I remember a conversation way back in the 70s with my mother and sister when they asked me, are you gay? Apparently, it was the only explanation they could come up with as to why I, their son and brother, was the only 18-year-old virgin in Elizabeth. I think I could actually feel their disappointment when I said, no. I'm intolerant of intolerance. And this next one is on the same theme. It's called Ignorant Stranger. I was hanging with a happy friend when a stranger walked up and asked us, are you guys gays? I looked over at a pretty boy, grabbed my cock, which was soft, and said, I guess not. I wasn't offended by the question, but by the ignorance that asked it. Corey Bernardi. What a fucking wanker that guy is. I got injured 14 years ago, and I was barely able to walk, and yeah, I got bashed, and I made this, got this poem up, and it sort of motivated me to get fit, and the poem itself motivated me to not do what I was going to do. It's called Attitude Problem. I was bashed by a wife-beating, child-abusing, cripple-bashing, drunk-pumping, beer-swallowing, pot-smoking, meth-head thug with an attitude problem. So I went home and exercised. I ate less, walked lots, rode bikes, pumped weights, lost weight, got fit and strong. Then one day I went back to the pub and picked a fight with that gutless prick and became the thug with an attitude problem. Well, when I was bashed, I was barely able to walk steps. You know, I was about 40 kilos heavier, and my mobility was pretty bad. And the pigs did, yeah, they investigated, and then they barred both of us because, you know, obviously I was in for the fucking fight, wankers. This is my poem called Pigs.
Find the video.
Yeah.
Pigs! I hate every fucking one of them. They're all lying, cheating, thieving, corrupt, hypocrite thugs in uniform. I have heard there are some good cops out there. That's the general theory of optimism. But how can I tell them apart when they're all cloned to look and act the same? I've seen them from a lot of different angles as a victim of violent crime when they did fuck all. As a felon, because I'm a convicted, you know, marijuana pipe possessor because my mate left it in the glove box and I got arrested with a $50 fine.
Yeah.
Side of the fence. This'll blow you.
Innocent!
My big day.
Innocent!
My big day. After 3 years of study, a graduation parade, photographs and celebration drinks, a new uniform, a new responsibility, a new way of being in charge. My first post, the watch house. fingerprinting, photographing and feeding prisoners. My first shift, a drunk, barely conscious with the stench of shit and piss and spew all over him, locked up for a night in the cells, locked up for his own protection. And the next day, a $2 fine, plus costs and then freedom to drink again. The senior man says, I'll show you probies how to handle prisoners. He takes the magler, the big metal torch in both hands and thrusts upwards into the drunk, into his stomach. He collapses, convulsing as the senior man smiles. Welcome to the police force. It was the first hour of my first shift after I graduated from the police academy, and I was just a kid. But I stopped him and told him what I thought. And he looked at me dismissively and said, you, go to the office. I looked over at my mates, my fellow graduates, but I was on my own. I stood all alone. I told the sergeant what he'd done, but the stain on the record wasn't his, it was mine, because I broke the thin blue line. Not long after, my police career ended as it started, badly. And though I can hold my head high and walk with pride, I still bear those scars buried deep inside. Yeah, I was a cop, not a pig. I make the distinction. Yeah, when I was in my mid-20s, my girlfriend got pregnant. We had a kid, my daughter. Yeah, I'm a breeder. Worrying, isn't it? Especially for the girls. Don't smile at me, you're not my father. And my daughter's mother, she was into those trashy romance novels, you know the ones, boy meets girl, boy and girl fall in love, boy and girl break up, and you know, hours, days, weeks, months, years later, they reconnect, fall in love all over again, live happily ever after. 190 pages of formulaic bullshit. Well, this is Mills and Boon, it ain't a love story. My daughter's mother used to get 6 Mills and Boon every week. The package would arrive on Mondays and she'd read one a day. On Sundays, she practiced what she'd learned. Couldn't have been too much. She wasn't very good. When my daughter was born, the mother let me see her. Then she didn't, then she did, then she didn't, and then the courts did, and then she didn't when she fucked off to Darwin and took my daughter with her. A few years later, I heard her ex was up there. The guy before me, the one who broke her in. I didn't like him, so I let him know how to find her. They hooked up, got married, just like those Mills and Boon she devoured 6 to a week. I heard it didn't go so well. I guess she really didn't learn anything from those trashy romance novels, except how to fall for my manipulations and become a Mills and Boon cliche and a punchline for my poetry. Years later, my daughter and I reconnected. After she turned 16, after she got into drugs, after she'd been nearly murdered by her boyfriend, her dealer. But I couldn't be her dad. I had to be her friend first in order to help her do some healing. After 6 months, after she'd done some healing, after we bonded a bit, I told her what I'd done, manipulating a mother and stepfather like that. And she asked me, why? And I said, because payback's a bitch, babe, and your mother deserved him. And my daughter said to me, but Dad, I didn't. I hadn't thought I'd see my daughter again. I never thought I could ever hurt her. But I did. It turns out we both had a lot of healing to do. Well, my daughter and I reconnected. That was back in 2000. She went back up to the territory in 2001, and in November 2003, 3 years after we got back together, she gave me the first phone call to tell me she was pregnant. And I thought, wow, I can stop being your friend. I'm going to be your dad. What's the due date? I'm going to be up there. I'm going to take you to hospital so you can give birth to your child. It'll be my first chance to be your dad. She said, that'd be nice, Dad. But the next year, Mum got sick. It turned into terminal cancer, and 10 days before the due date, my mum was given 1 to 2 weeks to live. And I'm standing screaming at the ceiling, not knowing what to do, frozen with indecision, and my mum said, look, Nigel, go. You've missed out on too much. Just go up there, get a photo of my first great-grandchild, send it down so I can see them. And the next poem, 3,000 kilometres, is what happened next. I am 3,000 kilometres away the day my mum dies. Being a good dad for my daughter, expecting her first child in Darwin the next day. The phone rings. My brother says, "She's gone." Dad was with her. My daughter hugs me, her bulging belly pressing into mine, but there are no tears. The news, not sudden, just sad, that my mum, her nana, has not lasted to greet the first of the next generation. The following day, on the due date of my first grandchild, I drop my daughter at the doctor's and go to visit friends to make my goodbyes before I head south for my mum's funeral. The phone rings. My daughter says, "There's something wrong." We rush to the hospital, wishing, praying, dreading, hoping for good news, fearing the worst. Expected mum and dad enter the ultrasound room whilst I wring my hands outside the door. My daughter's anguished cry, "No!" tells me the baby is lost. They go upstairs and I go outside to make the calls to share more bad news. Now I'm faced with a terrible choice. Will I be a good son, be by my father's side at my mum's funeral, or will I be a good dad, be by my daughter's side at the stillbirth of her first? And does being a good son make me a bad dad, or does being a good dad make me a bad son? I am damned. I had 22 hours, but I can tell you now my daughter is still with the same guy. I have 3 gorgeous granddaughters, so we, keep giving, never give up, keep going. I try and work out why I am the way I am. You lot probably blame alcohol or drug abuse from years ago. Yeah, I was born this way. But yeah, I have a few phobias, and I wrote my next poem about an event which gave me one of them. It's called I Hate Needles. I am 3 when I split my lip, playing with my dad, trying to catch his hand but catching the corner of the table instead. A rush of blood, a rush of tears, a rush to hospital. I don't remember the needle and thread as they stitched up my lip, but after that I could not look at the needles at my arms at the doctors when I needed shots. I was 31 when I got my first tattoo, but I could not look at the tattoo gun at my arm at the parlour when I wanted some ink. I was 40 when I broke my life, broke my body, broke my neck, and needed painkillers. I still hated needles, but pain trumps fear that day. I loved the needles. I needed the needles. I begged for more needles. It was a love-hate relationship. I was 3 when I split my lip playing with my dad, trying to catch his hand but catching the corner of the table instead. That day, my dad stopped playing with me. We never played again. I really hate needles. After that, I don't remember playing, my dad, he just let mum raise us. He was busy with work and doing everything. He was a bit of a brainiac. You know how you say to people, what you're doing's not exactly rocket science? You couldn't say that to my dad, because my dad was a rocket scientist. No, that's it. He was a guided missile weapons expert. Yeah, well, mum raised us, but every school term, my dad would look at our report cards and pass judgments. Well, I wrote this very short next poem called Not Good Enough. In my first term, I got 2 A's. They weren't good enough. In my second term, I got 1 A. It wasn't good enough. In my third term, I got no A's. I wasn't good enough. I'm the firstborn, and I am the spitting image of my dad. No joke. The fruit didn't fall far from the tree. I have no idea where my brother and sister came from. They look nothing like us. But me, I've got my dad's face, his nose, I've got his body, his flat ass, everything. So every time I have this haircut, he never fails to say, "Oh, I hate your hair like that." It's not because he hates short hair, because he was the one that gave me my first freaking haircut like this. It's because he don't like his face with this haircut. And I wrote this last poem, My Father, because of that. My father has wavy hair, clean skin and immaculate tasting clothes. We are very different men. He hates our differences. He complains about my crew cuts. He hates crew cuts. He complains about my goatee beards. He hates goatee beards. He complains about my tattoos. He hates tattoos. He complains about my jeans and t-shirts. He hates jeans and t-shirts. He complains about my thongs. He hates thongs. But I am my father's son, and every morning I shave his face in my mirror. He doesn't hate me. He hates our similarity. He hates seeing his face with my crew cut and my goatee beard. He hates seeing his body with my tattoos, my jeans and t-shirts and my thongs. And he thinks his complaints will change me. But he won't win. I won't let him. I am my own man, not my old man. And he really hates that. Life poet, live at the Squatters. I'd just like to thank the Squatters here at Theberton for the venue. I'd like to thank MC Karen Fletcher for hosting, and I would like to thank Dick Dale, your view on life and way with words rocks. Mike Hopkins, I fucking love your poetry. All the open micers, you're brilliant. I'd like to thank the audience, my friends and strangers for coming to hear me. But biggest thanks of all, I'd like to thank Daniel Watson, founder of Paroxysm Press, the publisher that gives us edgy poetry writers a place to find our works in print. He was my mentor for some arts essay funding last year and worked with my written and my performance. A year ago, I could not even do 2 minutes with any confidence, and now here I am rattling on for 15, 20 minutes. Daniel Watson, you're the man, the mentor, and the mate. I love you, bro.
Give him a kiss.
He's my type.
Does happen every now and then. Someone comes along who doesn't suck as much as most of you.
How would you know?
Most of you always suck. But he didn't suck as much. I have no reason to be up here. This young lady who I love with all my heart
The lights go on to hell.
is the most important person for your night, in that she will ensure that I keep paying for sausage sizzles and making sure I have cigarettes.
And free cigarettes.
You do. You've got a cigarette.
All right, back on. Let's bring this puppy home. We've got some more open micers, I hope.
Go on, get your...